Hey everybody, what is going on? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube show, and of course you guys are tuned in to the daily vlog series. Today is Thursday, it is March 29th, and this is episode 129, and like I was saying yesterday, we got a ton of news stories. I didn't get to everything yesterday, so I got a lot of extra stuff left over today, so let's just go ahead and get things rolling. And story numero uno is Wipeout Omega Collection. Oh my goodness, we got this game yesterday, and I gotta tell you, see, I have been a Wipeout fan since the very beginning. I actually got a PlayStation, if you can believe this. I actually got a PlayStation the day it launched, way back in 1995. I'm talking about the original PlayStation. And later that year, probably in November of 95, I would have to guess, maybe early December, Wipeout, the very first Wipeout came out, and it was just an earth-shattering game back at that time. I mean, just absolutely incredible. And of course, the follow-up Wipeout XL was really good. I didn't really play the third Wipeout. I think I had moved on to other systems at that time and wasn't really screwing around with the original PlayStation. And then I didn't play too much of it on PlayStation 2 either. But when PlayStation 3 came, well, actually the PlayStation Portable, the Sony PSP, I had a PSP for a little while. There was a Wipeout game on PSP. It was freaking fabulous. It was awesome. It was fantastic. And then on PlayStation 3, we got Wipeout HD, which also was incredible, and I played the hell out of that on my PlayStation 3. I actually got myself a PlayStation Vita, and I got Wipeout for PlayStation Vita, Wipeout 2048. And so I've been a Wipeout fan from the very beginning, and I've just really liked the game. It just feels good. I used to be an F-Zero fan way back in the day, and Wipeout kind of took the baton from F-Zero as far as I was concerned. And when we heard about this Wipeout Omega collection, I figured, oh, this is probably going to be pretty sweet. But I had no freaking idea. There's no way. I could have never imagined that it would be as good as it is. So let me tell you guys, I got into the game yesterday. I put my headset on, and just in the very beginning, just seeing the title screen, it's like this all white background, and then you see a Wipeout ship just go, and it like slows down into slow motion, and then bam, takes off super fast, and the other one on the other side just looks incredible. I mean, everything is beautiful. You know what it kind of reminded me of? It kind of reminded me of that Star Wars game that was on PlayStation VR, you know, the X-Wing mission. The very beginning of that has a really good intro that kind of gets you hyped into it. That's the way I felt with Wipeout Omega Collection. Just the intro was awesome, and then you get into the actual game and you're sitting in the cockpit and you're looking around and you see spectators up in the stands and you see all the other hovercrafts, and the graphics are freaking fabulous. The graphics are amazing. That's the other thing about this game. I don't understand this. We're having problems sometimes on the PC VR platforms where you need to have this graphics card or that graphics card, and maybe you're not getting the best performance. But look at Wipeout Omega Collection on vanilla PlayStation 4s. People are raving about it. I have a PS4 Pro. It looks absolutely drop dead gorgeous on that, but people are raving about it on a vanilla PlayStation 4. Graphically, it just looks outstanding. It flows like butter. It is butter smooth. I mean, the control is there. I know these tracks so well that I'm playing through these tracks, and I know them like the back of my hand because I played them so much on Wipeout HD on PlayStation 3 and Wipeout 2048. I played these games to death. Wipeout Fusion, I think it might have been on PlayStation Portable. Was that what it was called? I can't remember. But I've played all these tracks like a million times, and so I know them so well. But it's weird when you're in VR because I really feel like I'm there. I really feel like I'm part of this world that is going on in Wipeout. And I have to say, there's some of these tracks are taking place inside like a futuristic metropolis, you know, a futuristic cityscape like downtown Los Angeles, but, you know, 100 years in the future or whatever like that. And it has this futuristic look. And I couldn't help but think of The Fifth Element. You know that movie, The Fifth Element, with Bruce Willis and all that back in the day? And Bruce Willis was in his taxi cab, you know, when he was flying his taxi cab, you know, Lilu and all that stuff. And there were parts of when I was racing around in Wipeout, I felt like, oh my God, this is like The Fifth Element. Like I'm in The Fifth Element. Like this is The Fifth Element first person. I felt like I was in Bruce Willis's taxi cab flying through some futuristic cityscape. That is how good some of these tracks work, and it just feels so good. The controls are so dialed in. Now, is there any bugaboos about this game? Are there any concerns? I mean, what is the downside about Wipeout Omega Collection, or is it just all good? Well, I have to say, there's not that many downsides, but one of the downsides that I have noticed with this game is when you first start out, you're in the cockpit of one of these racers, but what happens is they kind of have these blinders on you. So you have these windows, right? You have these big windows. You're looking all around your cockpit. You can see everything. You can see the spectators. You can see out there. It all looks good. Then when the race actually starts, boom, there's like these blinders that come on and it blocks a lot of your view. And the reason they do that is for motion sickness. You know, there's a lot of people that would get into this game and it would be Barf City, you know, so they have to have some motion sickness preventive measures there. Now you can go into the options and you can actually turn the blinders off, which I highly recommend. If you can survive it, turn the blinders off because it looks so much freaking better. So I finally turned the blinders off, but the one downside is there are a number of tracks that do not let you turn the blinders off. At least as far as I can tell, there's a handful of tracks where a little message pops on the screen and it basically says, this particular track is known for motion sickness, for causing motion sickness, and the blinder, you know, being able to turn off the blinders has basically been disabled for this track. It says something along those lines. And so there are a handful of tracks where you're going to have the blinders. You can't help it. And as I was racing through those courses, you kind of realize why they do it, because you're like, you know, you're going up in the air, you're doing loop-de-loops, you're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And so if they didn't put the blinders there, it probably would be Hurl City, you know, you'd be hurling all over the place. And so that's kind of the situation with Wipeout HD, but there really is very little bad to say about this game. In fact, honestly, I put it up there. This instantly jumps into the top 5 best PlayStation VR games. I can make an argument that this is the best PlayStation VR game, but it is right there with Resident Evil 7. It is right there with Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. It is right there with Farpoint. It's right there with Skyrim VR. It is right there with the absolute best games that PlayStation VR has to offer. This is up high, man. This could be a potential killer app. For anybody that likes Wipeout, you put them into this, they're going to be like, oh shit, where's the nearest Best Buy? Because I'm going to go get myself a PSVR and I'm getting myself a copy of Wipeout Omega Collection. It is literally that good. In fact, it is so good. I was talking about Brass Tactics recently and I said, Brass Tactics is probably one of the 20 best VR games, period. Like if you take every VR game, you put them all into a basket and you take out the 20 best, Brass Tactics is in there, you know, stuff like Robo Recall is in there, you know, Fallout 4 VR is in there. I'm talking about the best of the best of the best. Well, you can go ahead and add Wipeout Omega Collection to that list. It belongs with the absolute elites, the pinnacles of what we've seen in VR. I was just blown away by this. Yesterday was my Ready Player One day. I had to worry about, you know, finishing my episode, uploading it and all that, and getting to Ready Player One. But in between, I mixed in some sessions of Wipeout Omega Collection, and I was just like, God damn, this shit is... I almost was late. I was almost late for Ready Player One. In fact, I was late, but luckily there were so many goddamn previews, it didn't matter. And it was Wipeout Omega Collection was the problem. I couldn't stop playing it. I was just playing it and playing it. It just is butter smooth. Oh man, you know, my favorite track of the entire game is this Veneta K track, which is in Wipeout HD. It's this one track where there's all these different zones that you're going through, and you're basically just trying to survive. So the mission of this particular track is survive as long as you can, because if you keep hitting the wall, eventually your ship will explode at a certain point. And so you keep passing through all these different zones, and it'll be like zone 1, you know, and the announcer, oh man, the announcer and all the announcers for all the different wipeouts that are in this game, all awesome. Sound effects, all awesome. Special effects, all awesome. This game is just pure awesome. But that Veneta K track, I absolutely love that track because it goes through all these different visual styles. It's just so colorful. There's this one track, it's called, or this one zone, the Sub Rapier Zone. Oh man, that looks beautiful. I really love that. The Sub Phantom Zone looks super cool. The Standard Rapier Zone looks really cool. Anybody that has played Wipeout, you guys know what I'm talking about. If you played Wipeout HD, you know the track that I'm talking about. Racing around in this track in VR is freaking spectacular. I mean, I felt like I had to pinch myself. It almost was like a dream. You know how sometimes you'll have a dream about you'll have a dream about playing some advanced video game thing, and you'll think about your dream, you'll be like, oh my God, it was so freaking cool, but it was also kind of realistic. You know, it's like my dream created a realistic thing. And that's kind of what Wipeout Omega Collection is for me. It's almost like a dream. It is that incredible. But let's go ahead and move on to some other stuff. I can't be talking about, you know, spending 20 minutes on Wipeout Omega Collection. Incredible must-have game. And with the price drop of PlayStation VR, it's just perfect timing. I mean, Sony should really bundle this with the PlayStation VR, and they should try to bring back the demo stations that they have at Best Buy and make them Wipeout Omega Collection demo stations. It would just be awesome. Okay, so story number 2 is Defector by Twisted Pixel. This game has been announced. It has been revealed. This could be one of the next big Oculus exclusive games. Now, we know that Jason Rubin has teased a couple of different times that there would be some big announcements that were coming. We didn't really get anything at GDC. Now, what we've heard about is this game Defector, but all we have is a single screenshot. Well, actually, it's just the title screen is all we have. We don't really have a screenshot of the game. There is no trailer of the game. We don't know anything about the game other than the fact that the name is Defector and Twisted Pixel is the developer. Now, if you don't remember Twisted Pixel, these are the guys that made Wilson's Heart. And I was a fan of Wilson's Heart, but I wasn't in love with Wilson's Heart. And I think one of the reasons why Wilson's Heart didn't quite speak to me in the right way is I kind of feel like Twisted Pixel, when they were developing the game, they were kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, because at that time, I mean, they started developing Wilson's Heart way before touch was available. And so, you know, the standard controller was the Xbox controller. And then most people that had an Oculus at that time, it was just the 2 sensors, you know, it was just 2 sensors. That's it. And so it was like this front facing thing. And so I think that really affected the development of Wilson's Heart. And I think they were kind of constrained, almost like one hand tied behind their back while they were making Wilson's Heart. And they did a good job. They did a very good job. It is an interesting game. It's a unique game, and it has there's a lot of polish and there's good entertainment value in Wilson's Heart. And so Defector, I'm really excited about this because this is their second VR game. This is their second crack at it. They got one VR game under their belt. Now their hands have been set free. They know everybody has touch. They know most Oculus Rift owners actually have probably 3 sensors. I mean, most of them do. And so room scale is kind of a possibility, or at least being able to turn around and and not just have a front-facing scenario. So Defector, we're excited about this. We are going to find out more about this game possibly a week from today, because that is when PAX East kicks off in Boston on April 5th, and it runs through next weekend, basically a week from now. And so anytime during this, during PAX East, we could get some more information about Defector, probably a trailer, probably some screenshots. And if you're actually at PAX East, you might even get your hands on the game and actually be able to demo the game. So that is Defector by Twisted Pixel. Okay, story number 3, No Man's Sky. Now remember No Man's Sky, the PlayStation 4 game, and then of course it came to PC a little bit later and all of that. But I mean, there was so much hype about No Man's Sky for all these years. Hello Games, this is going to be the game that changed the world, you know, blah, blah, blah. We know that ultimately the game came out. It was a major disappointment. A lot of people were pissed off. This kind of got ugly. You know, it got really bad because people were like, man, you made all these fake promises and none of this is true, you know, and it just kind of went real bad, right? But anyway, Hello Games, they kind of rebounded. They've made a lot of updates to No Man's Sky. I've never actually played it because when it came out, I was already knee deep in VR gaming. So I let the whole flat pancake gaming thing, I left it off to the side. So that's when No Man's Sky came out and I was like, I'm not playing flat anymore. So I'm not even going to trip on that. So never played it, but I've heard they've added a lot of updates. They've improved it a lot. Well, why am I talking about it right now? I'm talking about it because the rumors are swirling. There is an ARG that is going on, and basically it's dropping a tremendous number of hints that seem to be related towards VR. So it's very likely that we could get a VR version of No Man's Sky. Now, the big question though is, will this be a PlayStation VR exclusive, or will this go to all the platforms? Will it start out on PlayStation VR and then come to PC VR a little bit later? We don't know. We don't know what the situation is going to be with this. In fact, we don't even know that VR is coming, but it is strongly hinted. So we'll go ahead and keep our eyes on that. That is No Man's Sky, a possible VR version. That looks super cool. Okay, story number 4, Oculus 2nd anniversary sale is up and live, but I got to tell you, it's pretty lame. It's pretty lackluster, although there is a daily deal today, guys. In Death. How many times do I talk about In Death? I think it's a daily deal for $9.99. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I saw that this morning as I was looking through various possible news stories. I think I saw that. There are some good, I mean, there are a few good deals out there. There just isn't a ton of incredible values, you know? I mean, there's some discounts here and there, but it is a little bit of a ho-hum type of sale. And one of the things that I wanted to say about that is, think about it, guys. We keep getting sales over and over and over again. I mean, all of us own like 30, 40, 50 VR games because there's been so many games that have been on sale so often, the same games over and over again, always dropping to like $10 or $15 or whatever. Lots of great games. And it's all the usual suspects. You know, they keep going on sale over and over. I kind of feel like probably half of my audience, we all own the same freaking games. We all own the same collection of 30 or 40 games because they've been on sale so many freaking times. So we've actually been very spoiled in the VR gaming industry in terms of just crazy sales all the time. It's a beautiful thing. This one might not be the most incredible sale of all time, but you know, it's halfway decent. And then the other thing is, Oculus is doing a sweepstakes thing. They're giving away around $28,000 worth of prizes. And one of your ways to get into this sweepstakes is Brass Tactics, which is going to be the free weekend game this weekend, which is absolutely awesome to give you that whole game to be able to play. You can get a little deeper into it than just the Brass Tactics arena that everybody already gets for free. But Brass Tactics is the free game, and all you have to do is get into a Brass Tactics game this Saturday between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. Pacific time. Just get into a game, and if you get in, I think a multiplayer game, you have to get into a multiplayer game, I believe. Just get into any game, and as long as you're in the game, you will automatically be registered, and you will have a chance to win some of these prizes. I think they're giving away some like high-end gaming PCs. They're giving away like every Oculus Rift game on the entire platform. You know, they're doing all kinds of things like that. So there are some giveaways, so go ahead and check into that. Okay, so now guys, I better get into Ready Player One because we've already been running quite long here. I spent a ton of time on Wipeout, which unbelievable. But now let's talk a little bit about Ready Player One. I did see the movie yesterday. Now I'm not going to get into any kind of a spoiler talk or anything like that because it is a better idea. Let's let the people have time to see this. And, you know, I mean, I saw it on the very first night. So let's give you guys some time to work with here. But as far as the movie is concerned, the main thing that I was interested in regards to this movie is how would this movie resonate with just your average Joe Schmoes out there? You know, is this a movie that is going to transcend like the nerd geek culture, the pop culture, the, you know, the retro, and is it going to transcend all of that? Is your Uncle Bob gonna want to watch Ready Player One? Because kind of what I thought back to is The Matrix. Do you guys remember when The Matrix came out? I think it was 1999 when the first Matrix came out. Like Uncle Bob, you'd say, yeah, Uncle Bob, go see The Matrix. Every grandma, go see The Matrix. You know, it transcends all of that where everybody has to see it. One of those kind of movies. And I was hoping, like in the back of my mind, I was hoping that Ready Player One, maybe we get lucky. Maybe it's one of these movies that, you know, comes every 20 years and just blows everybody away like The Matrix did back then. And unfortunately, I'd have to say, no, this movie does not fall into that category. Now, is it a bad movie? No, it's not a bad movie. It's an entertaining movie. I had a lot of fun with it. Full disclosure, I did not read the book, which actually might be a good situation because a lot of people that really read the book and know the book well feel like a lot of changes didn't work out very well, or like they barely even covered the book at all, or, you know, there's a lot of complaints out there from people that read the book. So maybe it was kind of better that I didn't, but I don't know. I thought the story was good. I thought everything was pretty good. The problems that I had with the movie is like I thought the villains were a little bit lame. Like I didn't think the villains were that great. Maybe the actors that they chose to play the villain roles didn't do a hell of a lot for me. And then towards the very end of the movie, it got a little bit goofy. It got a little bit on the goofy side, you know, a little cringe-worthy at times. There were also some really good funny moments. There were, you know, there was some hilarious little things that were in there. I'm not going to spoil any of that. And as far as like visual effects and stuff, that was incredible. And the way they depicted the Oasis was really cool. The technology, Infinideck, you know, they're going to be happy because their little Infinideck things were in that movie quite a bit, but they were doing things that can't really be done, at least not at this stage. But, you know, it was a good movie. It was a good movie overall. I give it a thumbs up. I highly recommend it to anybody that is kind of in geek, nerd, gaming type culture. You know, anybody that's into that. Anybody into VR is going to like it. Anybody into kind of gaming and nerd culture and classic 80s stuff and retro stuff and all that, they're probably going to like it. But I just don't think Uncle Joe is going to like it. I don't think Billy Bob down the street is going to like it. I don't think Joe and Sally Walmart are going to like it. And that's the problem. I don't think it's going to transcend. So basically what I'm saying here is I don't think that Ready Player One is going to give the entire VR industry like this extra shot in the arm. Like if it was up to the level of The Matrix, which I know that is asking a hell of a lot, but if it was up to the level of The Matrix, it really could give the entire VR gaming industry a major shot in the arm. And I don't think it's quite there. Solid movie, good movie, not an incredibly awesome movie, but solid movie. Okay, so anyway, guys, I ran quite long. I still got a ton more stories to get into, but damn it, I spent so much time on Wipeout, but I had to do it. And so, you know, this is just the way it works out sometimes. But the good news is all these stories just fall over to the next day. So if tomorrow is kind of lame in stories, I still got plenty to work with. So we'll get into all of that tomorrow. So I will see everybody tomorrow on Friday. Take it easy. Later.